Welcome to the Optimizer Hunting Podcast, and we've been doing a lot of interviews over the phone. That's typically how we do a podcast, but we've actually had some opportunities with show season coming up. We're at the Mathews Retailer Show to get a chance to talk to some folks that are out there in the industry and do some video, some face-to-face interviews. So it's kind of fun to actually be next to the person I'm interviewing instead of just talking to them on the phone. Matt, this is Matt Peters, and Matt, you're a sales rep. We've talked to you a couple times on the phone, but to actually have you here and have you at the show is fun to bring you in and just kind of see what's going on with you and what you're up to. And how's your season been so far this year?
We had a really busy fall, but it was a great fall, and thanks for having me again, Chris, and I appreciate being on. But we had a really busy fall. We spent a lot of time in both North, South Dakota, and Wisconsin. We ended up having a great deer season in Wisconsin. The rut really actually was really good before Halloween. We had a real good pre-rut action, a lot of chasing. We filmed a lot of really nice deer. Unfortunately, a lot of them were just 3-year-olds, so we let them walk. But we were able to take some does, which was one of our key things we needed to do on a few of our farms, was call the doe numbers down a little bit, and we were able to do that. So from our standpoint, the season was absolutely a success. I do still have my buck tag, but to take some of the does out and do some of that management, that's as important for our farm as it is taking some of the mature bucks off. So we were happy with calling the doe numbers down a little bit and controlling the herd. Now we're getting into show season. We're here at the 2015 Mathews Show. Everybody's amped up and excited about the new products coming out, the new HHA sights, the new Mathews bows. It's going to be a busy show season, but you know, we're looking forward to it.
One of the cool things about what you guys do, you've got this property in Wisconsin. We're really close to the show, so you're actually staying at your place right now, and you actually told me you'd check some trail cameras. That's one thing that you guys do a lot of. I mean, you're not just out there trying to put deer on the ground. Like you said, you passed up some 3-year-olds and you're shooting does, and you guys do a lot of really intense management on the property. What's that like for you guys as a film crew? There's always a lot of pressure to get kills. To go out there and be like, you know what, that's just not a deer what we want to shoot right now.
Yeah, and you're exactly right, Chris. It's to have some of these deer present themselves that, and it's a lot of people's trophies, but for us to manage our farms correctly, we have to keep the age right. We have to harvest the most mature deer we can. And so we let those 3-year-old bucks that are 10-pointers walk, and those are key genes that we want to see spread to the does. Our buck to doe ratio has been a little out of whack. We're taking some of those does out, like I mentioned earlier. But the camera's become an important piece. We run a covert 3G camera. It's a cell cam. We're really happy with them. They've become an intricate part of our scouting because it allows us to kind of learn the patterns of the deer as they change throughout the fall. Because everybody knows as the beans start to yellow and as the seasons change and crops come out and all the things that happen with the rut, these deer change where they live and they change where they're, you know, what they're doing and how they're traveling. So the cameras really become an intricate part, not only throughout the season, but even here in the late season. Gun season is now come and gone, and now we're running cameras just for inventory. We want to know what deer made it through, how they're doing, where they're starting to spend their winters, where maybe there's a food source they're still going to if we want to hunt them. So it's still really important. We run them all the way till January to kind of know after gun season what we've got left on these farms and make sure that hopefully some of these 3-year-olds got through to next year, and also to just see kind of what we've got left for does and fawns running around. So I was checking them this morning, just replacing some batteries, getting things, you know, up to speed here to get through the next few weeks. But it's really crucial, and having it sent right to my phone live or real time has been fantastic as far as how we've learned to scout these deer and pattern them. It has completely changed the way we deer hunt, to be honest.
Yeah, you actually live quite a ways from your property. We're close to it here at the show. You're 45 minutes away, but you're several hours away from that property, and having that camera that'll send you the pictures kind of gives you an idea of when the big boys start getting on your feet. You don't have to go in there and mess up the property walking around in there.
It's exactly right. You pegged it. I have learned 100% that it showed us that they were on the hoof before Halloween. I was getting pictures live. We could adjust our schedule on when to get in, where to be hunting, and how, what deer were on the hoof, what kind of chasing was going on ahead of time pre-season. And we're like you said, I'm over 4 hours away from our farm, and to not have to go out there and be in the woods checking them has completely changed the way we've deer hunted this year, and we've learned so much about not only our woods, but about the deer, because when you get it real time on your phone and you start watching and you all of a sudden 11 o'clock you got a picture of them, the next day at 11:05 you get a picture of them, and you're like, okay, it's time to get in and try to kill that deer in that particular area. And that's what we were able to do with a few of the management 8-pointers that we did take off of our farm this year, we were able to do that thanks to those covert cameras that were sending us those pictures. So it really helped us a lot.
That's a cool thing. I think a lot of people out there, you know, they've got kids, they've got jobs that put a lot of pressure on them. To be able to maximize the time in the field, because a lot of guys say, oh yeah, I hit it hard, I hunted, you know, 20 days this year. Well, they might not have been the 20 right days. You might have been better off hunting the 5 right days instead of all those 20 days. And what that does is it really puts you in a position so that you're spending your time wisely so that you can do your job effectively, you can be good with your family, but still get out and do the things you want to do and put yourself in a good spot to get on the deer you want to shoot.
Yeah, agree 100%. I mean, it really allows you to try to hunt those right days. And the other thing we noticed this fall was where the moon aligned with the rut and how we could pattern those deer in relevance to the moon with that camera was what really, I think, was the eye-opener, because we were able to get them before the full moon came. There were so many picks during the day, and we learned now for next year on really that 8-day window leading up to a full moon was our best window for pictures during the day. And as soon as we got into the full moon and we had more nocturnal pictures, but that's now logged thanks to that live, you know, feed of pictures. We now know for next year even the things we've learned, how to apply it watching that moon scale for next year. I think we're going to have, you know, and add a few more of those cameras to the arsenal. We'll have a really good fall next year as well, which is you know, sometimes that's as much work you do this year is about also what you're setting up for next year for us. So it's been fun. And you know, now, like you had mentioned, now we got shows, a bunch of shows coming up, and as a rep in this industry as well, I have to travel for, here I am at the Mathews show, I'll go to SHOT Show, I'll go to a few distributor shows. So you know, and I'm fortunate to get to work in the industry I love, no different than you and a lot of us. So it's great, but it's also really busy, but it's fun to be around the guys in the industry. It's fun to share pictures. It's fun to share stories from the fall. It's fun to see all the new products for next year and all the new innovations, all the way from, you know, HHA's got a new Light King pin sight that's just fantastic, and you know, so there's just so many great things coming in the industry that it's an exciting time of year.
Yeah, a lot of people think about, when they think of guys working in the industry, they think of guys, hey, you must go out and hunt, you know, 90 days a year. But tell us about kind of what the grind is of being a sales rep such as yourself. What is the day-to-day? What is it like? What are you doing right now?
Well, right now at this particular show, the Mathews dealers are here, and we're trying to write orders for them to start stocking their stores with everything from optics to, you know, bows, you name it. You know, everybody's here kind of showing the new stuff and writing orders to these dealers. But to your point, as a rep, we work kind of, it might be 10 o'clock at night. We kind of work whenever we can get our work done, and then we try to get in the tree on the right days. Back to your point, instead of hunting some of the wrong days, well, let's take advantage of the right days from what we're seeing, and then let's get our work done in the, you know, in between time. But yeah, it is, you know, at all these shows basically going forward, we're looking to try to inform the customers. You know, most of them are dealer shows, they're not consumer shows, but to let the dealer know what's available to them, what products that are selling in the industry, what customers are looking for. It might be a cooler, it might be a sight, all those things. So it's that will be really the next 6 weeks, and we do that before fall of 2015 to have all that kind of in place by, you know, the consumer's buying season really starts probably in July. We see it starting to ramp up towards fall. So we want to have all this stuff done here over the winter before the summer comes.
So what are you doing that time of year? I mean, right now, obviously, you got the shows going on, but once you get into April, May, June, what kind of things are you doing then? Typically,
I'm still, you know, following up on some fall business, checking on some dealers, checking on kind of seeing where, you know, things are picking up. But when I'm not doing that, I like to get out on the boat, and I like to spend quite a bit of time fishing as well. If I can get out, I fish Lake Mille Lacs quite a bit. I fish a few other lakes, and I run some guide trips even for clients that like to go out and try to catch some big smallmouth or some walleyes. And in May and June is some of the best time of year for, I live in Minnesota, and being up here in the north after the ice goes out, that early season is just a great time of year to get out for guys that, you know, aren't maybe, you know, bow season's over, they're not spring bear hunters. It's a great alternative to get out and get fresh air. I tell guys all the time, you know, get out and drag a tube jig around or drag something around and catch a few walleyes and smallmouth and keep the fresh air experience alive, because I think a lot of us, we like to harvest, but at the end of the day, we're all fresh air enthusiasts. We love fresh air. We love being out in the fall. We love being out in the spring. So it gives me the opportunity to kind of keep the fix alive until I start shooting the bow a lot every day, getting ready for fall. So it's fun.
What's your favorite part of being a rep?
Probably the flexibility of the schedule. I love the interaction with the customers. I love the interaction with the hunters, the fishermen, all that stuff. But the flexibility of the schedule really helps to allow us to, we might work a Saturday, Sunday at a show, but then on Monday, Tuesday, if it's the right days to be in a tree, we can make that work. We can kind of mold our schedule around what works best for us, as long as we get our work done, see our customers. So I really enjoy the flexibility, and then I really enjoy the interaction with the customers and also the consumers, the archers, the fishermen, those guys. It's the stories they tell, the success. I love hearing a success story of, you know, hey, I'm shooting a Grim Reaper broadhead, and let me show you this monster I shot, and you just take it in and you're like, God, that's fantastic. So I think it's a culmination of things. You know, I can't say it's any one particular thing. Ease of schedules towards the top of the list, but as you come down, it's all those things that add up to allow us to you know, live the dream week in and week out.
We talked about what the favorite part of your job is. What's the worst part of the job?
Oh, that's a good question. Probably, there again, back to the schedule thing. So it's good and bad. It has its pros and cons. The pros are the flexibility. The cons are it can take you away from your family and friends quite a bit. You might have to travel more than you might like. You might be on a lot of weekends, whether it's a consumer show or a dealer show. You do lose some crucial times. You know, or it might be even right around Thanksgiving or whatever it might be. You know, a retailer might have a big promo for Black Friday that pulls you away from a family function that you'd really like to be a part of. But you try to balance it the best you can. So I would say that the best thing about it also at times can kind of be the toughest part, and that's just scheduling the time out right to be able to still have life at home with family and friends and stuff. But outside of that, there's no reason to really complain. It's a great industry to work in, and it's great to see it continue to grow, and it's just a pleasure to be a part of this industry altogether. I couldn't imagine doing anything else.
There's a lot of sales reps that just work for one company. Maybe it's a bow company or whatever it might be, but there's really probably more guys like you that represent a lot of different companies. Tell us about some of the companies you represent.
So I work for Mirsky Breeding Sales as a rep, and I represent Zeiss Optics, Hunter Specialties, Tangle Free Decoys. We have a handful of other lines. We do High Country Beef Jerky. So I mean, it's a vast, you know, from snacks to cell phone waterproof cases, because you know, hunters and fishermen need to buy those as well. So we kind of cover a vast area, but it's all in the sporting industry. We do Cutter Repel bug spray and Rayovac flashlights and batteries, and it's really to the sporting niche is where we focus. But we do have some great lines. Like I say, Zeiss Optics is a great line for us. Hunter Specialties has been a great line. And you learn a lot about the industry as you work with each one of these manufacturers. You learn a lot about what makes them tick, and it's been beneficial just to help me even grow up and understand how this whole business as a whole works. But being able to represent 15, 16 different factories, back to your question of what's the best part about the job and the worst, that sometimes adds a lot of stress. But when you go into a dealer, you go in somewhere, you have a lot to offer. So it's good to have a lot on your plate and keep you busy, and I, there again, not complaining about, but we've got some great companies, and Matt Breeding has done a great job bringing a lot of great opportunities to us. We just recently took on a little point of view camera called Eye on Camera, and they've got it in all camo. It can mount on a bow. It's a neat little camera, point of view camera for guys looking to film their own hunts. So we'll be selling those going forward here now in the near future. It's really compete against that GoPro type market, but it's designed for sportsmen and all camo, right to mount like to a bow or a gun with the mount right in the package. So it's really actually marketed right at that market instead of kind of being marketed to the sports or surf market and the whatnot. It's marketed right to the hunter, and that's Eye on Camera. So we're looking forward to some of these new opportunities as well.
A lot of guys out there just heard you talk about all the great things about working in the industry and being a part of this hunting industry, and a lot of people, it's their dream to do that. How do you go about getting a job like yours? How does this happen? How did you get your job?
Really, I started off as a pro staffer or a field rep, I would say, many years ago, and that's how I think a lot of these guys do. I think there's kind of two avenues. Guys either come out of retail, and they worked on the retail side, and after they've worked retail, they eventually come over to the sales rep side. The other avenue is the avenue I took, although I did work retail for a short time, and that is working as a pro staffer helping a lot of these companies out as a pro staff guy, attending events and shows, and you start to learn the sales procedures and you start to learn about how it all goes. And if you stick around long enough, for me, a door opportunity presented itself. A position opened up where somebody who had this territory was moving on to a new position with a different company, and they called and said, you know, you've done a great job for us as a field staffer and pro staffer. Would you want to take on the sales side? So I would say that's probably the two best avenues. A lot of guys come out of retail, a lot of guys come out of kind of being, you know, nurtured all the way up as a field staff, pro staff guy. So I did go to St. Mary's University in Winona for sales and marketing, which was, you know, gave me a great knowledge base after I, you know, and then to use that as I went forward. But just really insert yourself into the industry. I tell guys, a lot of guys ask, how do you get a job like yours? And they're few and far between, but at the same time, insert yourself in the industry. Be passionate about it, care about it, try to make a difference with the companies that you are involved with, and they'll notice that. And once it gets noticed, that's when opportunities will present themselves, I think.
That's one of the things that I tell people all the time. You know, how do you get to do what you do? And you know, I did a lot of stuff for free for a long time, and just didn't say no to people. And people, you know, hey, will you do this? Will you do that? Yeah, we'll do that. And it doesn't take long. People see that you're talented, and people see that you can deliver results that, you know, they want you to be part of their team. And that's
absolutely
something that I think people really want. You know, they want it now. They want it now. But sometimes you have to be patient and kind of do some things and build relationships. And once you get that relationship built, and something comes along, it'll be there for you. So
agree 100%. That was, and I probably did 10 years before I was offered my position, building those relationships. And there was a patience thing, and I had other jobs, but I knew all along that's where I wanted to end up. It took a while to eventually get where I wanted to be, but knowing and being patient, to your point, was a crucial piece of it. And in the long run, I don't plan to do anything else. This is where I want to be. I want to work in this industry as long as it's growing and doing well, as long as I can. I love being a part of it. I love working with guys like you and all the folks, you know, Chris Ham at HHA and all the companies. You know, I just, it's something that I thoroughly enjoy, and so hopefully I get to stay in this industry for a while.
Yeah, we're here at the HHA booth, and if you're watching this on video, you can see where we're at. But the new Kingpin is out, and I know you've been shooting the Optimizer, and you've got a chance to look at that Kingpin. What do you think?
I think it's awesome. The engineering behind it, the whole design is a fantastic sight. The ease of use, the dial, everything he's done with that. I mean, HHA absolutely makes the best one-pin sight. I mean, I've just thoroughly enjoyed shooting the Optimizer this last year and a half, and this new offering he's got is a great design, engineered really well. I love the vertical and in the travel on it, and I really just look forward to shooting it and getting out in the woods with it. But yeah, they just never cease to amaze. I mean, you're shooting something that you think can't get any better, and then he comes out with this other design. And not that the other, you know, the Optimizer's not a great design. It's a fantastic product, and I love shooting it. But it's just so neat to see how he comes up with these other neat designs and the engineering behind it and the way it travels, and just made it a little more compact, you know, made it a little, you know, some advantages there. So also they put a little magnifier on the dial that I really like. I think they'll help guys in a quick setting type situation. If you don't have a lot of time, you can see it a little easier and quicker. So those advantages, I think, will really help the archer that's using it either for 3D shoots or if he's out in the field. You know, he might be just an avid bow hunter like you and I, or he might be a 3D guy, and he's built one for, you know, either application. So hats off to him, and I just think it's going to be a home run of a sight. I'm looking forward to shooting it.
Well, Matt, thanks for your time. It's show season. I know it's a busy time for you, but it was a great opportunity to get in front of you and be able to talk face to face. And if you guys enjoyed the video, check some more videos out on YouTube. But if you haven't been to our podcast channel, we've got it on iTunes and Podbean. We've got a lot more podcasts, a lot of industry stuff, and also just a lot of stuff on hunting and just a lot of things outdoors. If you're interested in target archery or whatever you want to do, check out our iTunes channel, check out our Podbean, check out our Facebook, and of course, you're here on YouTube watching this, or if you're listening right now on iTunes, check out those other channels because we've got a lot of good stuff for you from guys like Matt and other people in the industry. So thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.